Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of the 5-part Vlogger in Paradise series. And in this episode, does it feel a bit tight in here? Give me a second. That's better. Anyway, as I was saying, in this episode, I'd like to take you down to my local pub where my brother and I actually started a home game 2.5 years ago. The idea being to show you one side of poker that I thoroughly enjoy, the social aspect of poker.
This method acting might pay our bills, but soon enough there'll be a different role to fill. I love this feeling.
Very quickly, before I jump into the analysis of the hands that I would have played at the home game, as I said, we've been running this for 2.5 years, so if you are a local to the Oxford area or you're just visiting, do feel free to come down. We run it every Wednesday, 7:30. Welcome all new players with open arms. Just an excuse to have a couple of drinks and to play the game of poker. So if you are interested, do feel free to come down. So nothing really went for me in the rebuy period, so I'm going to run through a couple of hands really quickly. Had 20 big blinds effective, about 20 minutes in. Blinds already gone up to 100, 200s. Do get pocket eights all in. We're going to raise, re-raise, shove pot against pocket aces, so we do lose that one. Hand 2, very quickly, I open up pocket 5s on about a 13 big blind stack and make it twice the big blind. Get a call from the small blind and the big blinds. Board comes out 10-4-2. So I elect to bet with my over middle pair. Get a call from the small blind and a fold from the big blind. Turn is a queen, small blind checks, I check behind. Then the river is an ace, which is a dicey card, and it's a card that I knew the villain would be trying to use as a bluff. He did elect to bet about half pot, and I kind of ummed and ahed for quite a while, but I did think there was a lot of aces in his range with a lot of gut shots, you know, a lot of 2-pair combos like ace 4, ace 2 got there, ace 3 gets there. So with that in mind, and before we actually sat down and decided to kind of video all the hands, he says, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this a very difficult session for you to record. So with that in mind as well, with what he said at the beginning, I did elect to call and he did show me queen jack, so going for very thin, not thin value, but some value with his queen. So at this point, we're down to about 3-4 big blinds. I pick up pocket 9s and I decide to obviously shove. Get a call from the big blind who holds ace 7, so a pretty standard call there. Board does, however, run out an ace, so I'm putting in my second rebuy in for my third bullet of the home game. So immediately after rebuying, I look down at pocket 8s under the gun. I elect to just limp. The blinds have just gone up to 150, 300, so I felt it was kind of either a shove or limp spot. I could have opened, but decided to go for the limp instead. So I get a call in the small on the big blinds. Board comes 10-7-6, so I've got middle pair and a gut shot. I elect to bet, get 2 calls. I pretty much shut down at this point. Turn was a jack, checks around. Then the river was another 7, get a bet from the small blind. So I decided just to fold. I knew my opponent quite well. I knew it was a fold situation. At this point, we're down to about 3-4 big blinds, getting open, look down at ace 10 suited, shove the remainder of my stack in, get a call. Both have ace 10 suited and it runs out as a chop pot. And the final hand at 200-400, I look down at pocket 10s, I shove and manage to get everyone to fold. So those are all the hands that I had pre-rebuy. I know I ran through those hands really quickly, but I didn't see the hands playing out any different way. Nothing really too interesting apart from one hero call with the pocket 5. I do add on for an additional 5,000 chips, so moving into 300, 600 blinds. do have about 12 big blinds, so plenty of room to maneuver. So a couple of hands into the 300, 600 blinds. The cutoff to my right raises to 2 big blinds. As I said, I'm sitting at around 11, 12 big blinds as a couple of hands have gone round since. I look down at pocket jacks. I like to do what most people probably do in this situation, just shove it all in for 11 big blinds, and it does come back round to the cutoff, and he does elect to fold. So chip it quite nicely there, get to about 14, 15 big blinds, so putting myself in much better stead than I was before the rebuy. So another 15 minutes or so roll by, and blind levels at this moment are 500, 1000, so having a much bigger impact on everyone's stacks. I must be on about 12 big blinds. Under the gun +1 elects to limp. Again, this isn't too abnormal, so it's nothing to necessarily be worried about. No one trapping with aces or anything like that. The button calls, small blind completes, and I wake up with king 9 offsuit to the big blind and decide to check my option. Board comes ace king 6 rainbow. Action checks through, and we see a turn card, which is the 10 of clubs, which actually does bring a flush draw on board. 2 clubs, the 6 and the 10, I believe, of clubs. Small blind checks, big blind myself checks, and under the gun +1 elects to lead. He leads for about 2.5 big blinds. Button folds, small blind folds, and with second pair I'm not going anywhere just yet, and I elect to call. Turn card brings the 8 of spades, so flush draw missed. The only straight draw that gets there is the jack 9, queen jack that's already there from the turn. So at this moment in time I check, and my opponent doesn't think too long before betting on the turn, which is 2.5 to 2 big blinds. I kind of go into the tank a little bit. My thought process here is, would he check back an ace when it checks through to him on the flop? Most probably not. Again, I've been playing the same opponents, give or take, for about a year, 2.5 years in between, and you get a general feel of everyone's game. So with the flush draw on board, I thought there was a lot of maybe gut shots and flush draws, or maybe just open gut shots, a lot of 10s that he's turning into bluffs. So I kind of thought for 30 seconds to a minute, and I thought that he might have slow played a couple of raggy aces, but I felt that there was a lot more bluffs in his range. So I think I actually say in the hands of my thought process, but I do elect to call, and not too happy. A friend of mine says I can't get anything through. So he does show me the jack 9, which was one of the hands that I put him on. He did pick up a gut shot on a flush draw, but kings were good. So good pots, moving into 4-handed at this point. So about another 10 minutes roll by, and the blinds have gone up again to 1500, 3000. And at this point I'm sat on 7.4 thousand chips, so about 2.5 big blinds. Action folds all the way around to me, and I'm in the small blind, and I look down at ace 9, so I jump in with joy, shove the rest of my chips in the middle, and the big blind snap calls, has very little choice, got so much invested in the pot already. He turns over his hand, and it's a dream hand to be up against. It's queen 9 of diamonds. Go to a flop, and this is what happens.
Wow.
3 outs. 3 outs. All jokes aside, however, I do want to thank the guys down at the home game for being supportive, getting involved, playing back at me, and making this video as tough as it probably could have been. So thank you for that, guys. Do appreciate it. As for the hands of the night, I think it's fair to say that we went on a bit of a roller coaster in terms of good calls, bad hero calls, unfortunate runouts. Hoping the king 9 hand in particular shines at least somewhat of a light as to my thought process throughout the hand. I know I've got a couple of years playing with this opponent, and I do know his game very well, which will no doubt be a defining factor for the reason for my call, but actually assessing what bluffs does he have in his range, what value hands does he have in his range, and quantifying where I think I am in the hands. And per his line that he took, I did come to the conclusion that I was ahead, and I was right on this occasion. Sometimes just breaking it down, thinking about it rationally, can really improve the calls that you're making in your game. It's definitely something that I found over the years. Anyway guys, that is the end of video 2. We are nearly halfway through already, and it's going blooming quick. I'm thoroughly enjoying doing these videos. Thank you to everyone for the really positive comments and feedback in the last video. I'm hoping these videos are getting better and better, and as I said, continue the feedback, continue the support. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.